Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's interesting.
But with that being said, how did you feel about the environment down there?
In Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
uh, man, it's you know what I really don't. I like sometimes I immerse myself in something, but don't
Mm-hmm.
really pay attention. Like
Okay.
uh, but like I look back and I think about it, and I'd be like, it's a different vibe when you go somewhere
Mm-hmm.
and you see people that look like you in
Yeah.
abundance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, huh. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like when I check into the hotel and
Mm-hmm.
I see people like me,
Mm-hmm.
not just the staff, but in the lounge, at the bar,
Mm-hmm.
going in and out, interacting, and then you're looking at, you know, how they dress and what they're riding in or how they walk around. It's like, it's just a different feeling, it's a different vibe.
I
You know?
think it's a different vibe for us because where we come from,
Yeah.
totally different. Like
Totally different.
it's just I don't even know how to explain it. It's just different. And I'm not saying that, when we come from a small area that it's the hot life when we get down there. I'm saying that, it's just a different vibe, environment, feeling like, you know, everybody normally is nice, interaction, like nobody's like being nasty, nobody's on
Mm.
the like I think Deb Antony said one time, Waka Flocka's mom, coming from the north in New York, they're taught to always be on the go. Everybody's,
Right.
it's fast paced, you're moving fast, you're driving fast, all of that stuff. And then when you go down there, it's on the slower side,
Mm.
meaning that everybody operate on their own time. You get to where you're going at whatever time you're going, and so we're kind of more so in the middle of things. Yes,
Right.
we're closer to Philly and DC, but compared to the other cities um that we have all traveled to, like Miami or a DC and Chicago and New York, like I wanted to soak in all of that this
Mm.
past weekend because when you think about relocating somewhere, you definitely have to do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Atlanta is a place where it's thriving right now, especially for the younger generation. And we met a guy on Sunday. He had some shorts on that had Clark on it, the logos for Clark. And the first time we saw him, Jay was like, I want those shorts. And I said, well, ask him, where he got them from. She was like, I don't know if I should do that. I'm just like, well, you want them, you better ask him. Cause so he came around the second time and she was like, hey, where did you get your shorts from? And he was like, oh, they're one of a kind. And she was like, oh man. And he was like, yeah, I got them made a couple of years ago. I bought the shorts and I got someone to put the patches on them for me.
Mm.
And he was like, well, do you go to Clark? She was like, yeah, I'm a freshman. And he ended up having a whole conversation with Jay about what she needed to do while she was there and the
Man.
importance of knowing her purpose while she's there and staying
Man.
focused and not getting sidetracked. And it was a young guy, he wasn't older, but I think he just graduated within like the last 4 or 5 years, he said.
Mm.
So like I appreciated that because again, just from our experience when we went to view the college with that young lady,
Mm-hmm.
it similar experience what we just had this weekend. And again, these people are not saying you owe me anything if I give you these gems. They're just giving them out just so to help you. And his main thing was do not sit in your dorm room. You have to get out on the campus. And we keep saying it over and over for all of these college kids. You have to take advantage of everybody that's on a college, and it's not going to get better than a Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark all together, all three in one. Like, you know, you can have your Howards and Dell States and Norfolk State, Hampton, stuff like that, but Atlanta is the hottest place right now. If you want to advance in any TV career, you have Tyler Perry Studios, you have all the music that's coming out of Atlanta, all the different artists. So, you know, take advantage of that. I mean, you're on a campus and you have great people around you that are supporting your growth. So, yeah. I thought that was real dope when he took the time to, he was like, "Oh, you're a freshman there? Let me tell you about Clark."
Right. So, that's that's passing on that information. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I went to Clark. You know, this is some of the stuff that I went through. This is what, you know, I suggest that you do.
Yes.
And I think it's dope. And you know, I think another city that I think we need to go to is Houston, Texas.
Houston?
Yep, Houston, Texas.
We do need to go to Houston because I need to see. I mean, that may be another option for me as relocating as well.
Because I think I heard some good things about Houston. I heard there's some really good communities out there in Houston where you can you know, interact, socialize, network, and you're able to thrive. You know, I think that's another spot that, you know, we should plan and take a trip out.
Put that on our list. 2022. Now we're going to Invest Fest. Yes, we are. End of August.
Absolutely.
You know, that's already set in motion. And I just told them that at work yesterday too. I sent them an email. I've already paid for this. So
I will be in attendance.
I won't be here. And I'm gonna put this on my annual review too. Yes, I am. So
it was crazy is that last year I found out about this. They did this virtual real estate investing event, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna attend.
Yeah.
And so to make sure that, you know, I didn't really have to, but just to make sure I didn't have any issues, I put time off in to make sure that I'm able to attend because of the time difference.
Okay.
Right. So so I put my time in, I gave it to my supervisor, right? He was like, yo, that's good stuff, man. He was like, you're doing some personal development. And he was like, I think that's great. And he was like, I definitely want to capture that on your evaluation. And I was like,
sounds real good.
Cool.
That's what I'm saying. It sets you apart from, not that you're intentionally setting apart from the different people in your department, but there are those that are comfortable where they are. They're not going to do any more, any less. They're going to do the bare minimum. And then when people like us that are actively doing different things consistently, then it's just like, oh, wait a minute. It makes people think. And sometimes they don't know what to do with that. But like, should we put our podcast on there too? It's growth, it's development.
Yeah. Maybe not for me, but for you, definitely. Not at this juncture, I probably won't, but I definitely implore you to, you know, to do that. You know, it's something different. It's you know, you're growing and you're exploring, you know, your career, career growth, and you know, it's definitely. I think so.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking about it, but I may wait until next year. I may wait.
It's all about how you articulate it, though.
Huh?
It's how you articulate it, though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then you don't want people stalking your pages either. Like, oh, what is she saying? Like, is she talking about me, or is she doing this, or is she doing that? No, I really don't want to go into all of that. So
Right.
I'm gonna go over here and stay in my lane for a little bit. And yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel you. I dig it.
But it is growing you as a person,
Yeah.
because podcasting is something that I never would have done. If you didn't present it to me, I never would have done it. Like, because I think, I was talking to mom about it. When people tell you different things of what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, like, I struggled when I had that conversation with someone a couple weeks ago, and they told me, you will delete all of your podcasts. And if you don't, then it's going to be a problem. And I was just like, man, should I stop doing it? And I've talked to a lot of people about it. Like, should I stop? Should we stop, for me and Jay? Stop doing it. Because some people feel like that it's driven towards them. And it's really not.
That's that self-reflection starting to hit.
Exactly.
That's what that is. And it's, you gotta fear. One, I like it because you think you recognize what's about to happen. That's what I think. That's how I see it. You recognize what's about to happen.
The power.
And you know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you want to prevent it. That self-image of to other people, if they know this about me, if they know I'm operating like this, I can no longer have a narrative that I'm doing the best that I can do on my part. And sometimes it's going to take that type of push for you to gather yourself to be better for yourself and the people around you. Like, I feel like, when we talk about it, no different than this week, I know it's going to be a lot of pissed off people when I get done loading our conversation after tonight. And it's going to be about building healthy relationships with your parents. And me and you have talked about it. And when we talk about building healthy relationships with our parents, sometimes our parents are not receptive to what we are saying. And when you shared it with me a couple months ago about the guy, I want to say, didn't he go to Clark, the comedian? He either went to Morehouse or Clark, either or.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
He was on David Shands, right?
Yes.
He was talking about how he could not talk to his mother about how he felt because she wasn't receptive. She was always dismissive of his feelings. And he said he was emotionally detached from people because she never showed emotion to her kids, meaning, let me hug you, let me kiss you, let me tell you that I love you. He knew that she loved him, but she never showed it. So, I want to really touch on that because it's a lot of people from old to young that deal with so many issues with our parents. Yes, our parents are not perfect, but you have to tell your parents how you feel towards them. And I think they should be receptive to how you feel as people. Like,
absolutely. And the only reason I didn't want to you bring that topic or discuss that topic is because I want to make sure that I have that conversation with my parent
before it comes out to the world.
Yes.
So for me, it's important because I've had that conversation with both parents. And it's a continuous conversation. And that's what I want to say before I even start the conversation, because some people will sit up and think, oh, she didn't tell her mom, how she gonna do that or whatever, or she feels that way about her dad. No, we've had plenty of conversations over here. That's why I am comfortable having that conversation, but also it will help bridge the gap between me and my own kids. Because there are some days where it's like Jay is saying, mommy, you are doing too much. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Because I will go off the deep handle with some of the stuff that be going on. And it's just like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to need everybody to pump their brakes. Then I take it too far. And then everybody's like, oh, let me go in my room. Let me not say nothing. you know, but it's stuff like that, you know, it has to be discussed because a lot of, I feel like the conversations that I have had in the last couple of weeks have been extremely important, and it's for a purpose. And a lot of people are dealing with being angry with their parents. But I
Yeah.
think also that you have to understand the people that your parents are and what they came from and what those people came from. So some of this is what should I say? Traumatic experiences is being relayed to the next generation. Now, for me, I didn't want that to happen with my kids. So I knew I was a cutoff point for a lot of generational curses. I had to be so that I would not transition that to them.
Right.
And so they can be the best versions of themselves. And if they have an issue with me or their father, that they can be equipped enough to come to us and say, you know what, you made me feel like this, or I don't like the way you talk to me, or whatever the case may be. But I think it needs to be discussed. And some people may say, well, it's coming from a person that I don't want to hear it from. Well, someone has to say it.
Mm.
Someone, and you know, we coming from large families, sometimes things need to be discussed because a lot of these generational curses are spinning from like units to units to units.
Yeah, and sometimes it's unintentional. Like it's unintentional that you're spreading it, and you not may not even realize that you're passing
Absolutely.
it on. And I think it's also it's important that you got to frame the conversation. Like, look, I
Absolutely.
want to have this conversation. I'm not coming from
A disrespectful place.
disrespectful place. I'm not coming from ill intent. I just want to be able to express my thoughts and my feelings, and I want you to have the opportunity to share your point, share your
Yeah.
view, and just have this conversation. Like, I'm not, we're not looking to get anything, or just want to be able to express this and get it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you'll be.
It's extremely important. Like the conversations that I've been having with multiple people,
Mhm.
like I never realized the older generation of people that are holding on to trauma. Like, and some of these parents had died. Like, how can you still be mad with somebody that they can't even speak for themselves anymore?
They never had the opportunity to express it. And now that they're not here and they're not able to express it to them, then it's like it's now it's bottled.
Yeah.
And it's forever sealed because you're not going to be able to express it to the person that you want to express it to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so it's just like,
Yeah, when I had my conversation last week with someone, I was just like, you know, like you need to sit on somebody's couch. Like seriously, like and yes, church can help you. And I think a lot of our people think that if you pray, you can pray it away and you can go to church, but not necessarily. Like you have to actually put in the work, like to get that healing process started. Like, you know, you actually have to talk it out. So for my dad, I do plan on talking to him again about the state of mind that he's in. Because I need for you to understand that I'll go back to this. So I did ancestry, I did the kit, and I got it sent off. And I don't even know if I told you, but when the results came back and my brother had his party, his graduation party, and so I go to the graduation party. So I'm like, okay, Dad. I said, Dad, did you know about my mom's mother and father? And he said, no, I only knew their names. And I said, well, did you know that they were still living up until I want to say 2013? Now, my grandmother thought that her biological parents were killed, and she was given to. Have I told you this story? Okay, so
Are we,
um,
we talking about this?
huh?
We doing this on here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So to make a long story short, okay, so my dad's mother was adopted at an early age, her and her siblings. And they had biological parents up until I guess maybe 10ish, 12ish, something like that. And then they were in a house supposedly, and um the parents one night went out. One went out at a time, and they never came back after that night. So they went into foster care. They thought that their parents were killed because they were a black and white couple. So back in the day, no, they didn't go for that.
Right.
So they had these kids, and they thought that they were killed because they were black and white, and people didn't agree to that. So they went into foster care. They were adopted by this family. So that family raised them, and I want to say, I'm not sure if my grandmother was the oldest. I had to verify that, but she was given the land that the family owned in Smyrna. So she built a house on it, and they had their house on this land as well. And I guess these people died or whatever. So like it's something that wasn't discussed with me because, just wasn't. So I don't know the family history like that. So I said, let me take it upon myself to figure out like, what's our family history. So of course I went on to Ancestry. So I start digging, and the more you click, the more it goes back. And so, I find out that we have all these white people in North Carolina and different states from the white side. And so I said, well, let me take it a step further because I want to see like what is our background if I get this kickback, like how much percentage of us is really African American. So I thought it would be more English or whatever. So I get the kickback and I go to the party, and I said, Dad, well, I did Ancestry and I got my kickback. And he was like, why would you do something like that? I'm your dad. Why would you need a DNA test? So I'm just like, hold on, wait, pump your brakes. So like this is a percentage of what it's saying for me. And I was going into, did you know that they were actually living, her parents were living in Miami, Florida the entire time. So so I take that as, my grandmother dealt with a lot of hurt because she felt like all this time that her parents were killed. Her parents had been living this entire time and never reached out to them. So imagine dying thinking that, your parents got killed or whatever, right, or always having that narrative storyline, but they were actually living and no one took the actual time to investigate it. Yes, they did go to North Carolina where they originated from, and they went around the town to talk to people and say, hey, do you know anything about this story? And people would say, don't ask about it. And which would alarm me as weird. Mm-hmm. But it makes sense now why they were saying, don't ask about it. So I'm thinking maybe they were informants, maybe they were spies, like so many things run in my mind to why they would leave, 5 kids.
Right.
And never reach out to them again. So did they see a crime and went into protective custody? I don't know. But these people were in Miami. So with that being said, you have traumatic experiences from just that itself. And then since you didn't have your real parents, you don't know how to be a real parent. You're just basically doing what you can do, what is in you. So then with that, it trickles down to my dad, and he only does what's in him, you know, and then that trickles down to me. So we form these what should I say, angry spirits or anger towards our parents, but we have to actually do the research behind that hurt and pain that was before them that trickled down to them, and then hopefully try to correct it with talking to our parents, creating those healthy relationships. So that's why I want to talk about this tonight.
That's another episode.
Yeah, it's real deep.
It is like, man. Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
So it's a whole, huh?
I process that.
That's why I said to you the other day, it's going to have to be piece by piece.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I gotta process that.
It's a lot, but these are the stories that go on. And again, somebody has to talk about it, because sometimes we're angry with our parents and we don't know their stories.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just because, like, I never met my dad, so I have no clue ever. I've never seen him. I've never talked to him. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing there was like one picture, and like it was an old picture. You can barely see. Yeah, I've never talked to him, never seen him, had any kind of correspondence with him.
Really?
And yeah, but I've never been mad. I've never been angry, because I've had excellent role models always around. With our grandfather.
Yeah.
Tosin, that was my hero. Between Uncle Greg, Donald, Uncle Steve, Uncle Rick, what I mean? Like, there was Uncle Jimmy, Toots. I mean, like, there was always
somebody
figure around, what I mean? So, so I was never there was never no void for me. There was never no like what if or why this or why that, because I've always had some type of male influence around me. And yeah, so like, but like you said, I don't know his story. All I know is what's been told to me. Like my mom told me, that he has 2 other daughters. Wherever they are. And what I mean? So it's like,
you have sisters out here that you don't even know what they look like or anything.
Right. Absolutely. So it's like, but you know what I mean? It's like, I don't.
Do you want to know that? Do you want to know them?
It's never been a, how can I say, like, it hasn't been like, like a interest. Yeah, it's never been like a need. You know what I mean? Like, I think one time, my mom had asked me one time, and I said I'd think about it, or I was like, nah, I'm good. And then, like, sometime later, I was like, yeah, I would like to meet him. And because she had like contacted him, like, or he contacted her like off and on throughout the years.
Oh, okay. So, really?
Yeah. And like, she had reached out. She was like, all right, I'll reach out and see. And like, nothing ever came of it. So and I do remember, like, one time I came home from school. I think I was in like elementary. I came home from school, and Uncle Greg was at the house. He was like, I came home, dropped bag, and I was like, I'm about to go down to my friend's house down the street. And he was like, hey, don't go too far. There's somebody here that wants to see you.
Uh-huh.
And he said they're coming back. I said, okay.
Uh-huh.
But they never came back. And then come to find out, my dad had came to the house
Oh, really?
to see me. Yeah. And he came by the house. I was still at school. And then he
Mm-hmm.
left and he went to go talk to my mom at
Mm-hmm.
work.
Oh.
And they had whatever conversation they had. And then I think he left after that. So I don't know. I don't know what that conversation was. I don't know what
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
happened, but yeah, that is the extent of,
The relationship.
yeah.
I'm going through that with the kids. I don't even know if I talked to you about it, but they have a brother and he's younger. And the mom reached out to me when the breakup happened, I guess. And she wanted to know if they could have a relationship. And I wasn't denying the relationship. And that's not my job to build that relationship either. I think it should be the parents that actually in between us that make sure that relationship is built. But I asked my kids, like, me and Jane were just talking about this the other night when we were talking about today. And she was like, Mommy, when I say that I have siblings, I only account for my brother and sister. I don't account for everybody else. So, it's kind of like, I guess you have to allow the children to properly make their decision, because sometimes it can be tough.
Yeah.
Do you want that relationship? And I've allowed that for them and their father too at a certain point. Yes, I have at times said, no, you're not going to bring that mess over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got old enough to speak for themselves, then I was just like, okay, well, it's between y'all at this point, between father and kids. And I feel like, yes, one parent can make or break a relationship, but also it takes two people. It takes the mom and the dad to make sure that it's a consistent relationship, a healthy relationship with the kids. You can't just put it on the mom and say, well, it's basically your job. And it doesn't work like that at all. So I always tell my kids now, you have a decision and it's your feelings. I'm not going to interfere with that. Meaning you have to form your own opinion about your healthy relationship that you will have. As you get older, you'll probably be more vocal, just as I am with my dad. When I was growing up, he wasn't consistent. And even with talking to him last week, he was like, my mom was on me so much about being in your life, and I didn't like her telling me that. And it was just like, well, she was telling you right. Like, but you form anger towards someone that's trying to motivate you to be your best version for your kids. And it can be iffy. But
how do you balance that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How do you articulate that's in a way that you're trying to get them to see that you just want them to be the best version of themselves, you know what I mean? And then then talk about having a brother, you know what I mean? It's like, well, it's not his fault.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's so, it's I don't know.
It's a different dynamic.
It
And
is.
if you're not sound parents, meaning that you're in your right frame of mind, and that it's for the kids, it's not for the adults. You have to take your mess outside of the situation and put the kids first. And like I always tell them, me and Maurice don't have the same dad. Me and Brian had the same dad, but we don't have the same mom. So, I get when it's different situations like that, meaning because I'm sure that Brian looks at me and Maurice like, oh, they have that relationship and me and Brian don't because it's a huge age gap.
Mm.
Him and Brian and Jayla graduated together. So just imagine me having a child that graduated with my brother. So it's different. It's a different dynamic. So me and Maurice, on the other hand, I believe we're 12 years apart. So or 13, something like that. So we built a relationship. No, I don't talk to my brother every day, but I love my brother to death. And it doesn't matter if we have the same parents or not. And back to that point as well. I just talked to his dad. He retired in August.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent him a text message because I told him, I said, I just want to thank you for being the father that I needed growing up, because it can be really hard when you are growing up without a father figure. Yes, we have had uncles, Uncle Near, Uncle Judgel, but at the same time, girls kind of, what should I say, lean towards their fathers. And it's just like, I really wanted to truly thank him because he played a huge part in fulfilling that father figure for me. And I think it was taken well. But we always have been blessed with having people around us that played major parts for other people that were, for whatever reason, they weren't around. So I'm so grateful that we're not all over the place, because if you don't have that, man, life can be really hard for you.
Yeah, I agree. Like I've enjoyed, and I even say like I feel truly blessed to have not just the uncles but the aunts, the cousins, that I have, and that we've built relationships, and we're even though we may not talk on a regular basis or see each other on a regular basis, but able to have that support from them, it's it's very key. You know what I mean? And like being that I don't have any, like my mom didn't have any other kids, so I don't have any other siblings. You know what I'm saying? But to have the cousins that I have is just
are
like siblings. You know what I mean? Like you, Jawan, your mom, Stephanie, Dee Dee, you know what I mean? Like Lanier, Akil, like Tori, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like I'm blessed. Like I enjoy, and I'm glad that I have that support and I have those relationships. And and they've played a very pivotal role in becoming the person that I am. And then meeting people who aren't blood, in my career, and who have become very, very close. I have, my friend Jay, who I just spent her birthday in Atlanta this past weekend.
Oh, it was her birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Her birthday,
Why'd you tell me it was her? I would have came over there.
My bad. You know what I mean? But it's like my friend Winona, who I just met in Kuwait. Her, Jess, and Sheree, like I met all of them in Kuwait while I was in Kuwait last year. And like we was like
click.
Just like we was like the Avengers. Like I mean it was just like, and we're still cool. Like we still can get together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my homeboy Alex, who's down in North Carolina. You know what I mean? Like my homeboys on social media, Rod. Like I've met great people, and
along the way.
And I can call my circle's small.
Absolutely.
My circle is small, but I have, sisters and brothers that aren't blood, and I know that I can call them
At any time.
at any time and at moment's notice, and the Avengers will assemble.
Yeah,
So
I agree. My circle is small as well. People have dropped off along the way, but I still love them. But again, when those people drop off, the replacements come in so quick, and it's like that you've known them for so long. Because I have some I would consider, and I call them just as they call me, their sisters. They're not my blood sisters at all. And some people, like I know, for instance, Nikki, like some people really think that we're sisters, and people are really trying to figure out at the school, how are they related? Like, it's none of your business. None of your business. Just know if something pop off, I'm gonna be there and she's gonna be there. So but yeah, I definitely thank God for the people that have been along my journey, my best friends, cousins, aunts, uncles, because like I said, I was just even telling Jay the other night, I said, Uncle Near and Uncle Jejo played a major role in my upbringing as well. Yes, I was not their kid, but they made sure that I was good along the way, whether they were my babysitters or whatever. And sometimes Uncle Jejo had me all over the creation. So, you just had to know him to know that, man, he's go off, but
hey,
he
man,
will take care of you.
And in his own way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's going to execute.
Yes.
So yeah, man. Yeah, we definitely have to
revisit that conversation.
Revisit that. Because I definitely got some processing I got to do. You know what I mean? And so that way
my mind be on overload all the time, and it's just like, what in the world? That's why I said it's a lot to be discussed. And I was even telling my braider, like, when you think about podcasts, you think about topics, and I said, can you ever run out of topics? And
you can only run out of topics if you're trying to think of topics. That's why I kind of hate it, but like, what are we going to talk about? And all we got to do is get on here and just start talking, and then the topic will run. I'm like, and then we'll be like, all right, hold on. Let's record. You know what I mean?
Like
right. Because we started out talking about, self-fulfilling prophecy and, you speaking into existence, things that are going to happen. And then we ended up talking about family and family dynamics and trauma. And it's like, now I'm about to separate this into 2 different episodes. You know what I'm saying? One episode is not going to have an intro.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's not going to have an intro.
And they'll have to be okay with it. But is it relaying to people that they can relate to it? Yes. I'm sure that, like I said, a lot of people will relate to building healthy relationships with your parents. And how do we go about it as adults with our parents, but how do we go back to separating that from our kids as well? That's why I was just like, should I do it with Jay or not? Because it may be really tricky, because like I said, she's still young, right? But she also understands where I am as a parent as well. Like, why are you so hard on me? Or why are you expecting this out of me? And I think now she understands more because of what we've been experiencing the last couple of years. Like, it's struggles of life, and how do you overcome everything? And we were talking about the other night, like, why is my mom Lorcy a certain way? We were brought up in the church. It was how they don't have the same version of Dolores Benson as what we had in the 90s.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
We want to talk about that.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's Disneyland on Saturday night. staying at Aunt Dolores' house that's Disneyland. But Sunday morning at 06 a.m. Hey,
The
Disneyland
music has arrived.
ain't it's basic training Sunday morning. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh man, it's the truth though. Like
it's drill sergeant time Sunday morning. I'm telling
you. And are you equipped to deal with that when you go to Auntie's house?
Yeah, because you don't be thinking about the next day. You just think about it right now. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you because it's coming.
Yeah. And you are going.
You are going. As you are.
Yes.
And it don't matter what you got on. You is going. Even if she got to take you by the house of grace to get something.
Exactly. She will do it.
You will do it.
Man, but they don't have the same mom that we had.
Nah.
Same auntie that we had. They get the different version, the edited version.
They get. I think Auntie is in a great place and she's extremely happy, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. You know what I mean? Because we're able to see it, and I think she's finally I think she's recognized her piece, and she's living in her piece now, and it's like it's it's
an evolution. I said to her, must have been about 2 months ago, and I said, my mom, I said, have you ever thought about writing a book? Because when we have conversations, like my mom here recently, I just told mom this the other day. I said, Mom, when I have conversation with my mom, it's more like it's a little weird, like because she'll be having a conversation and it'll just be me and her like sitting there or whatever, and it'll come out of nowhere of her telling a story about how she overcame something. And I was just like, this last particular time, she was telling me about a situation, and I was like, my mom, like, why haven't you written a book? And she was like, oh girl, I never want to do that. I don't have the need to do that. And I'm just like, man, if she could have ever been, even right now, a motivational speaker, or a what should I say, when people hold these retreats and stuff like that, and she could just sit down and tell her story, starting out as a teenage mom and where she is now, it's a crazy story, but she made it.
I have to articulate to her, like Auntie, it's not, I get you don't need to do it, but do you know that your story could relate to someone else and can help them? You know what I mean? Like you're in a great place, and you may not need to do that, but your story could help so many other people. You know what I mean? That you will probably never, you don't even meet.
Yeah.
But they read your stories and you're able to tell that story and articulate how you overcame and how it moves you forward, and be the person that you are now and living in your peace. Like I would probably read that book and probably get something out of it and be like,
yeah. And also, it's some things that we don't know as people. Yeah. Like I was just telling Mom the other day about one experience that I had being over there with her. And I don't think that I've ever told Mom that up until the other day. And I was telling Jay that night as well. And Jay was like, it was like almost 1 o'clock in the morning when I was talking to Jay. And I was just telling her, I was just like, this is my mom's story, portion of her story. And she was like, wow, I never knew that. And I was like, yeah, this is real. Like these are portions of her life that she went through. Like, and just like everybody else is out here on the stage telling a story and making money, like this can be you. But like she said, and I even when she told me about the last story, I was just like, okay, and your best friend went through the same story, same kind of story. And I was like, man, y'all can tag team this. Like, man, like even if you need it, like
Need me to chance squad?
yeah.
I think so. I think she can still do it.
Yeah. It's never too late.
Never.
Never too late at all.
And it's not even about the money. It's just, you know,
just about giving back.
Right. And it's just like you don't know who you can help.
Mm-hmm.
What's the without actually interacting with someone.
Absolutely. I just told my best friend that as well. I said, you know, what you've experienced this year, with the killing of your child's father and the story that is around it. I said, you have a story to tell, but before that, tell your story of how you were in foster care and how you grew up without both parents. Like that's just basic. But then tell your journey along the way. You can help someone. She was like, Indy, I don't think I can. Then my other best friend, our cousin, I said, Jay, I said, you have a story too. I just told her that on Monday. She was like, no, I don't. I said, yes. We all have a story, like a personal story, how we got along in our journey. And sometimes we are fearful of telling our story because we feel like it won't relate to other people. But yes, it will. It will.
Absolutely will.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely will. I think I'm pretty sure all our elders could probably
Have stories.
phenomenal books.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they need to do a book that, you know, can tell bits and pieces of their story, a combined book. Maybe they would be interested in that, where they're not doing it by themselves.
Right. Might have to present. Yeah. Might have to present that.
Might be on to something.
Might be on something. See? Yeah, go ahead and close this out.
Yes. It's been a good time though.
Yeah, it's been a good time. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I always appreciate it, and I always love talking to you. You know what I mean? And it's a good time.
It always is.
You get me thinking. Now I gotta go process some stuff.
A whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. It's all your fault.
Yeah, I know, right?
Man, all right. Good conversation. Good topics. Multiple topics. Yeah, we definitely have to break this up. I don't even know how long we've been on here longer than 2 hours.
Have we?
Because we still.
Is it? Oh, it's 11. It's almost 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we've been on here
2.5 hours.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
A little over 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we definitely gonna have to break this up.
Break it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me stop because I don't know how my storage is.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time.
Yes.
Peace and blessings. Thanks for coming out. Good night. I'm gonna get my Russell Simmons on.
Yeah.
All right.